Hello, my fellow full of the samurai players. Zaript here. With a little bit untypical video today. It would be subscriber submission. Alienor against Pisa. Alienor on YouTube, I think he goes by a name of Dogma057. Yeah, I think it's right. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have a little bit of free time. Generally, I don't. And because I want to remind myself something I started to forget lately. I somehow forget that Shogun 2 isn't StarCraft, and it's not a competitive game yet, like not a big competitive title. And lately I have been expecting way too much from players and from myself, and it get me a little bit frustrated at times. So to remind myself that it's still a game, and not everyone have to play perfectly. I will try to do this at least once a week. Some random replays from subscribers. I have a lot piled up. I always tell people that I will take a look, and I generally take a look, but I don't have time to make a video or even get a proper response. I will see what can be done. Anyway, I got 2 replays from Alienor. One against Pisa, and it's ultra unit size, medium funds. It could be battle list, I'm not sure. And other replay against Killerfish. I will not show the game against Killerfish. That is definitely matchmaking, but as you can guess, Killerfish plays cat and mouse there, and just not a lot to learn from. But here, Alienor was asking what could have he done better in this game, because he would be losing this game. I'm telling this in advance. And this Boki will have a lot of kills, but obviously because it's ultra funds, it's not as impressive as in large unit sizes. So map is whatever map it is. Always forget this one's name. So let's start with judging the builds. Whenever you give advice, you want to take a look what tools player have. So here we are: Shogun Guard Infantry Vanilla, US Marines rank 5, increased range, normal, Red Bear Infantry, Royal Marines increased range, rank 5, Yariki rank 2, both have 1 melee attack, 1 melee defense upgrades. 2 melee attack would be more cost-effective upgrades, but well, not that big of a deal. Here we have Black Tortoise Force Vanilla, and General is seems to be mostly Bushido Gen. Yeah. So what's the problem of this build? In 10k funds, let's look at this. Like 2 Marines and 1 Shogun Guard Infantry. In place of these 2 units, you can bring 6 Black Tortoise Force. That's just to, like, it's important to realize. Well, instead of these 2 Marines, you can bring 4 easily. So the question is, do you need 2 150 range units on this map? To answer that question, let's look at terrain. Generally, the fight starts over dodges, right? And well, later. So here, the one place where you can utilize 150 range. This is relatively flat terrain, and here you can. Now let's go for this area. Oops. Okay, so here you cannot unless you get to this hill, but can you really get to this hill before your opponent gets on 125 range? I don't think so. Here doesn't seem so. Still 150 range could be denied here. So really on this area, it's very difficult to use 2 150s. So if you want to use that, you have to go either 150, or maybe 2 150s here. But generally in 10k, again, it's an overkill. It's too much because it's difficult to make a proper use of. You have not enough mid shields. Next thing, you have 3 lion units with aura. Now the question is, do you need that much? Honestly, I would go, instead of this Shogunate Guard infantry, you can take, let's say, instead of second aura, you can take Shogunate infantry. It will have very similar shooting stats and same breach loading rifle animation, but you will have around 300 koku left to put in something else. Maybe instead of Black Tortoise Force and Shogunate Guard infantry, you can take 2 Shogunate infantry. Overall, you will get better shooting stats and 2 units. So this is nothing devastating. It's still pretty decent build. I can see how it will win games, but for 10k, you're losing a little bit of edge. It's too expensive, and if your opponent brings a lot of cheap cavalry, for example, and here we are for Pisa, we see 4 Yariki, not that cheap. Some of them rank 5, rank 6, rank 4. He have funds advantage because of his general, but overall, he have 4 melee cavalry units and bow cav. So 5 cavalry units against 5 line. He can charge each line unit separately and stop it from shooting for a little bit of time if he have decent micro. So this is too much. But it can work, as I said, because this map is pretty much choke point map. You can see how you only need 3 lines and 4 in defense here. Same here, 3 lines with force behind can completely seal this off. Here's the problem, so, with what Alienor decided to do. He decided to give up this area for some reason. I don't know why. Well, it's smart thing because Pisa have cavalry advantage, so attacking here with 1 line would be pretty stupid, and 1 line and 2 cavalry still will not work. You need at least 2 lines, which probably Alienor should have done from the very beginning. Now, the moment you see your opponent having bowkey, you have to make like this notion in your head. Bowkey, artillery, you instantly say yourself, get into forest until you're hidden. And then, where you can, how should I put it? You look at where you can attack. Here you cannot. He already on position where you cannot shoot at him, and if you move first, you will be in his range of fire. So you should see like this area, just because this guy have better speed, maybe because of Yamabushi, maybe because he gave attack orders or move orders. This area already denied for Alienor. What Alienor can do, he can send his Redbeard as a midshield to bait first volley and then move in with his allied infantry. That's how he can attack here, because there is only 1 line actually staying for Pisa. So first course of action is go with Redbeard just frontally, charge with cavalry, and then follow up with another Black Tortoise Force from behind to protect these Redbeards and Royal Marines behind. You go there, you exchange evenly with Redbeards, with this cavalry. He cannot charge you because there is line behind. And in this exchange, you will be winning, because his opponent, Pisa's opponent, he have less line. And if you exchange line, it goes okay for you. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is to look at open areas. Like, let's say we don't want to attack here. Let's say we think this area denied. First, we don't want Bokeh to skirmish with us. Here, actually, Royal Marines. Slight mistake from Alienor getting in range. Is there a line of sight? No, there is almost no line of sight. But when you put yourself, like, you see how Alienor himself puts himself in position where he have no flanking threat. The only power he have is frontal, and it's denied by terrain. So he just allowed himself to get into this trap. So there is two choices, as I said. First choice is to go and try to sacrifice one line unit here on this hill, put it on this hill, with units from behind to try and force away this cavalry before this line comes around. And maybe make some sacrifices, but move in. And if he gets first volley on your red bears here, and then your Royal Marines come in, Royal Marines will kill around 40 men in one volley. You will win infantry fight much faster. Second way to do is what Alienor tries to implement here, is to use line advantage. He have more line. And when you have more line, you don't want your expensive line to stay here getting pummeled by arrows. You want cheap line to stay here baiting arrows, expensive line behind. And here, nice try. He tries to put a flanking pressure, but he makes mistake. He gets in range of Royal Marines, and now he's scared to go. Look, he gets back. No, like, just because you ate one volley doesn't mean you should instantly get scared. You should... You see this area, you can't go there. You see, just go on the edge, like... I cannot put markers. Just go in this forest, and when you position your United States Marines here, you position your Shogun Guard infantry here, so your United States Marines cannot be easily charged by cavalry. And now look at these Royal Marines. Your opponent cannot easily attack here. This is choke point protected by Royal Marines. So you can put your Black Tortoise Force here, baiting volley of Royal Marines, and then you shoot from this side. Your Shogun infantry can move in and shoot as well. And even if he is in a forest, getting shot by 3 line units, he would be at disadvantage. And you defending here is very easy because his line will have to move into choke point. So that's what Alienor could have done. There is a lot of options. There is tons of options. For another option is at the beginning when you see that you are too late here, you can pull back, use one unit here, one here, one here. So 2 units in the forest, one a little bit behind, to protect them from cavalry charges, and the bow cavalry cannot skirmish you. And with 3 line units, you protect this area, and take your time, go around, you have your 10 minutes, and with 3 remaining line units, you... 3 or 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. With 3 remaining line units, you get to this side, uncap dojo, and now you have flanking threat, you keeping him here. There is tons of options. But you have to be able to say yourself what you cannot do. You cannot use your 150s effectively with these terrain features. So you just think about it. Where his bow cavalry cannot attack you? When you're in a forest, or when there is flat ground on front. It has only 150 range, so put your 150 where there is a lot of open ground in front. But at this point, still some decent shots, but at this point Alienor put himself in position where he cannot force engagement. Look, he tries, nice try, another attempt to make some sort of a flanking threat, but he will come... Pisa at the same time charges with cavalry from a nice angle and attacks with line. Nice coordinated attack, stopping Royal Marines. Why? Here's a question: why Royal Marines? Like, it's high chances that this unit would be charged. So there is no chances that this unit will utilize 150 range in this area. So why send it first? Why not send these red bears here? That's like these small things, you can only look at them after the game. And it's important. So I understand how difficult it is when you're just learning the game, for example. But here how I think about stuff. After watching a lot of replays, I start asking myself, these players, these good players, why do they do stuff as they do? And then when I'm looking at my own games, I ask myself, why did I do this? And could I have done these certain actions easier? So, better. So there is easy way to judge your actions. Ignore the whole game plan for now. Like, break game to simple actions. Like, press space. you see an order you give, and then look at the field, like pause it and think about it. Okay, I give this attack order to my United States Marines. And first question you ask, is it a good order? Second question, could I have gotten another unit on this place? And when you ask these simple questions, could I have done this better? Could I have done it at different angle? Could I have done it at with different timing? Could I have done it in a coordinated attack with another unit? Like, for example, sending this cavalry not to attack this sabre cavalry, but to charge this black tortoise force, and allowing this Redbeard to kill this sabre cavalry. Like, just ask all these questions. How each certain action could be improved. And it sounds bothersome. Why would I watch replay? Why would I think when I can just play, or when I can send my replay to someone and ask for analysis? But that's pretty much how you learn. My advices, they could help, obviously, because sometimes you may not see some options, sometimes you may not zoom in, sometimes you may not know something about upgrades. So it's good to ask people for advice. But the most important part of learning is to learn to ask questions, right questions. And that's something I cannot teach you, unfortunately. I can only tell you from my experience what I think could have been done better. But your experience is different from mine, and some stuff I tell you cannot even implement sometimes. Because from my experience, I wouldn't take such a build, honestly. And I don't even know how to properly use this build in this situation. Obviously, I would try to somehow force my opponent with flanking threat, maybe get some better engagements. But generally for this map, I will just bring more mobile build. I will bring something like spear levy here, just in case. Couple of line, and remaining staff cavalry. Maybe 150. So it would be for me 5 line with 150, 2 spear levies, because I want my them to be able to be at least protected from cavalry charges, and then maybe some cavalry to be able to attack whenever I want, to be able to easily cross these rivers. I talk too much, right? So general advice is to just make sure your opponent cannot utilize his own tools. So don't approach bow cavalry where there is rough terrain. And look how this sabre cavalry, 60 kills on Royal Marines. Not much, actually. And look how this Yariki does something strange. Instead of stopping this black tortoise force from shooting, charging here. And Pisa does a lot of mistakes himself, honestly. He isn't in such a good position, quite honestly, himself. Because he have only 4 line units. But look what's happening. Pisa actually have... like, they both have so engagement. Pisa have 2 line units and all his cavalry on this flank against quite a strong line contingent. And look, this unit, it doesn't seem like it's... Oh no, it's in Guad formation, it's okay. Guad mode. But look how Pisa have 2 cavalry units and 2 line doing nothing. At the same time, Alienor have cavalry units, 2 line doing nothing. And unfortunately, it's expensive line of Alienor that takes cavalry charges. And here I'm not sure why Alienor actually pulls back, which allows Pisa to get first volley with Redbeard. Like, look. First volley, 40 men killed in this unit for no reason. If this US Marines just stayed here, they could have decimated these Redbeards, in my opinion. But well, mistake was done much earlier. And you see, game is still relatively close, but one whole unit of Royal Marines already dead. This Red Bear dead, and now... Now it's just question of small edges, small mistakes. I see at this point I think Alienor still could take a game. He still can. But he charges his general huge blunder, like why risk your general in this scenario? I'm not sure. Routing this Black Tortoise force. Look how close it is. So, despite Alienor telling me that he don't know how he could have won this game, it's not that one-sided. And it's not Boki that winning it. Definitely Boki got a lot of kills. Was allowed to get. But now look. Moving in against US Royal Marines in a forest. Getting pushed back again. And giving up archery dojo, allowing this charge, no line actually protecting this Shogun Guard infantry from this charge. And that's obviously what you want to do whenever you have opponent with possible with cavalry that can charge you. You should always ask yourself, okay, I have 2 units on the front, there should be 1 unit behind. That's a rule. This is actually the reason why I lose a lot of my games. Well, some of them. When I have improper position with my line. And now this Black Tortoise force easily routed. Rear charge. That's a unit with quite low morale. And it decreased further by flogging officer of Pisa. And by now it's just a mess. So... and this is a... last piece of not advice but analysis I could take in this late game. A lot of people struggle here because you see people kind of think in terms of builds and positioning. I don't even know how to explain it, but sometimes there is this late game mostly, or situation where you have to start attack, where it's all about seeing things in motion. So, for example, in this late game, someone like Duck or Killerfish, I think, he would see game in terms of tools remaining. Sometimes I do it when I'm in a good shape. I just count, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 line and a general. My opponent have 1, 2, 3 line, 2 depleted line. He have 3 cavalry units, which means I have line advantage, but he can break me with cavalry if he coordinates his cavalry with his line properly. And it all have to happen in motion. So you have to reposition your line not to face immediate threat, but to face all imaginary threats, including cavalry charges. But overall, the game, it was relatively close till the end, in my opinion. But it's the way Alienor plays felt stiff to me, like not wide enough, not safe enough, not fast enough to take the dojos. And all these small edges what lost him the game. And definitely there is nothing impossible in winning this game with build Alienor had, because he had enough line to actually surround Pisa. And it's just a matter of how safe you play with your line and how careful you're with terrain to utilize your 150 range advantage. So advice would be to look for proper terrain to use your 150s, to always ask yourself, do I need to have 150 range as a front line, or I better have some mid shield as a front line? Then when you have line advantage, you want to flank but because he have cavalry and can break you, you want, when flanking, you want at least one another line unit behind to destroy cavalry that charging you. Well, that's my advices, and obviously the problem with such advices is that Alienor cannot replay the game, right? He cannot play now and apply these advices, and he cannot tell if they are good or not. And obviously he cannot keep this in mind when playing next games. So I don't really know how to help, honestly. I hope my blubbering helped at least a little bit. And I hope to see you again on my channel, guys. See you!